Home buying could be a nightmare, especially if you're going into it blind, and it doesn't matter if you're a first-time home buyer or if you're seasoned. I want you to imagine your favorite football team. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're the favorites to win. Landslide, no doubt about it, they are the better team. But on game day, the playbook is back at the hotel, and they get slaughtered. Think back to 2014 when the Seattle Seahawks, they thumped the Denver Broncos 43-8. Ouch. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 questions I get asked when people are buying a house, and I'm going to provide you with the blueprint to start your home buying journey, and at the end, you're going to feel more confident in buying a home. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so you have that itch to buy a house, but what is the first step? Well, right off the bat, you need to find yourself a real estate professional and somebody like me. And I would go to Google and I would search for real estate agents in Sandpoint, or whatever town that you're looking into. Look for agents who have Google reviews, a bunch of 5-star reviews, and read them. Then find their bio and read it and get to know them a little bit better. Then I would look for any of their active listings. And you can go to websites like Zillow, Realtor.com, any of those websites, put in their name, search for their listings, and they're going to pop up. I recommend that you do this because you can tell a lot by a real estate agent through their listings. Their photos, are they high quality? Are they in order? Or are they just kind of shuffled around and it doesn't make sense at all? For instance, the first photo, is it an aerial shot of the house only to go into the house, into the master bathroom, to go back outside for some landscaping shots, to only go back inside and you're in the kitchen, only to go back to the drone and you're looking at parks of the neighborhood? It's just crazy, it's messy, it's not professional, and I think it tells a lot about them. Then go to the public remarks, and is it well written, well thought out? Then once you identify 2 to 3 agents this way and they pass your initial background test, schedule a meeting with them. And if you don't hear back from that agent in about 24 hours, your orange flag should be going up. Now at the meeting, have a list of questions to ask them. And a few questions I would ask. 1, are you a full-time or part-time real estate agent? How long have you been in real estate? What is your usual availability like? And what is your support staff like? Hopefully when you ask that question, they're going to mention a local lender part of the support staff. And since we're talking about local lenders now, let's go ahead and jump into the second step. When should you get pre-approved? Well, after you find that rock star real estate professional, the agent will likely have a lender that they constantly and continuously work with. Can't express how important it is not to only have a good lender, but one who works closely with a real estate agent. And I want you to think of it like this. The real estate agent is the quarterback of the team, the lender is the center. They're both at the peak of their careers and they've played together for 10 years, but then the center, he gets hurt, and so the backup comes into the game. Right away, the communication's off, there's bad snaps, the center's calling out the wrong blocking assignments, and the quarterback is getting hammered, just hit after hit, getting sacked, and they cannot move the ball. It's very similar in real estate. The real estate agent and the lender, they are a team. They work constantly together. They can predict what the other one's going to do. They know the communication style. They know what documents to expect and how to present it. It's just a well-oiled machine. And that being said, if you don't get along with the agent's preferred lender, that's fine. Go find one that you do like. You need to be able to get along with the lender since you're going to be working closely with them. My name is Ben Geanetta. I'm a real estate professional and team leader of Elite Realty Partners right here in North Idaho. And if you're planning to make a move to the area and you want to learn everything that there is about eating, sleeping, working, playing, the good, the bad, the ugly of Sandpoint, then make sure you subscribe down below and you smash that bell icon. You can also find my calendar link in the description below, and you can schedule a one-on-one meeting with me to discuss this video or anything else that's related to North Idaho. Next on our list, can I use my local bank? This is a question I get asked a lot. And a lot of times clients and buyers, they want to use their own bank like Chase and Wells Fargo, US Bank, because they think it's going to be quicker and easier, more streamlined. And sure, you can use them, but here's the deal. First, no, they can't just pull your statements and pull your paychecks and things like that. You still have to send all those documents over to them. And secondly, they are FDIC regulated, and they get handcuffed on what they can do, their creativity. And third, they normally overpromise and underdeliver, mainly on advertising a low mortgage rate and not disclosing the enormous fee that's associated with that low rate. Super frustrating when you get to the end and you realize you're spending $15,000 or $20,000 for that low rate. Basically, they are just a nightmare to work with. They have banking hours Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and real estate is Monday through Sunday and includes nights. And if you want to close on time, communication and availability is key. In 7 years of selling real estate, there have been a handful of my clients who insisted on using their bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, those types. And the majority of the time, they switched lenders midway through the transaction. Sean Kramer, he's a local to North Idaho. He's my trusted lender. He is not FDIC restricted. And not only is he the best at what he does, and I do not give that title out very easily, but he's down to earth. He will answer his phone after work hours, and he's going to get you closed on time. In fact, every deal I've worked with Sean, we've never had to postpone closing due to him. All right, let's talk about down payment and if you need 20% to purchase a home. And the short answer is no. However, with home prices shooting up in value since 2021, 20% has been more common due to the qualification reasons. Now, I was able to look into a lender and his team's numbers, and this is a large team that does a lot of business in Idaho. And in 2023, they had an average down payment just over 20%, with an average credit score of 737, and the average rate, mortgage rate, 6.12%. Again, these are just averages, and as mortgage rates come down, and they are as of this recording, as mortgage rates are coming down, the flexibility for the down payment is going to be, well, more flexible. Now, make sure that you check out FHA loans because they definitely allow lower down payments. And of course, if you're a veteran and you're eligible to use your VA loan, it's a zero down payment and it's a super cool program. And I really enjoy working with veterans and utilizing that program. How do I get paid? And this is a great question, and most people, they're afraid to ask this, and I'd rather have it out in the open and get it out of the way. Generally, the seller has an agreement with their listing agent to share a percentage of the purchase price with me. This is typically 3%, and I don't get paid unless you buy a house. That means if we look at 10, 15, or 20 houses and you don't buy one, then you pay me zero, a goose egg. Even if we're under contract and the deal falls apart, and it doesn't matter if it's because of you or the seller, well, I still don't get paid. Even if you don't buy a house for another year or two, I do not get paid until you buy a home. Now, a little disclaimer here. There are real estate agents out there, and they have clauses built into their representation agreements where that's not the case. So make sure, if you're not hiring me, that you have this conversation with your agent, you read the representation agreement, and you have a full understanding on how that agent is getting paid. Now, if you want to call and ask any specific questions about this, feel free to call me or text me, email, that way we can discuss this further. Number 6, when is the down payment due? What do you owe? Well, normally within 3 business days, you have to put down earnest money, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But your down payment, it isn't actually due until closing, when you take ownership of a house. So if you're planning on selling your own house from a different state or selling off stocks, or you're going to move money around from a retirement account or something of that nature, you're going to have time to do that and get it all sorted out. Just please, please, please let your agent and your lender know. That way the offer, or the contract really, and more specifically the timeline of the contract, can be set up accordingly. Another cost that you can expect is the home inspection, which varies depending on the type of inspection and things that you're inspecting. But generally, the range is between $400 to $700. And if you're getting a loan, you will have an appraisal cost. And in Idaho, that cost of the escrow company, the people that are getting your documents ready and making sure the money is going to where it needs to go, that cost is commonly split between the buyer and seller. Now, to help keep track of every penny, and I mean every penny that is being spent or credited, you're going to receive a disclosure statement within 3 days of closing. And I encourage you to look this over and ask questions, because this form is going to have every penny, where it's going and where it's coming from. The next question I commonly get asked is earnest money. And I told you that we were going to be coming back to this. A real estate transaction has to have, I'll say it again, has to have something of value exchanged. Now, this could be in the form of goats or a vehicle, a gold bar, or love and affection. But nowadays, it's typically in the form of money. Depending on the type of market that we are in and how many people are interested in that house, the range of the earnest money is typically 1 to 3% of the purchase price. When there's a lot of competition or it's a strong seller's market, you might have to go as high as 3%. Now, the earnest money is counted towards your down payment, meaning if you plan on putting down $50,000 and your earnest money is $10,000, then at closing you would need to bring $40,000 at closing, because 40 plus 10 is 50. Now, let's briefly go over how your earnest money can be refunded. During your primary and secondary inspection, you can back out and get 100% refund on your earnest money. If you review the HOA and CC&R documents and you don't like it, then you can back out and get a full refund. When you review the title report and there is an easement that affects what you want to do with the property, you can back out and get a refund. Now, if you just decide, well, I don't like the house anymore, or we miss a timeline, then the seller can opt to retain that earnest money. On to number 8, the inspection. Can you get everything on the report fixed or credited? Well, highly unlikely. Listen, you're buying a used house. There are going to be some dings and dents in every single house, including new builds, unfortunately. There are going to be some issues, and these reports are generally 40 to 50 pages long, and in a seller's market, a hot market, homeowners generally are not going to fix everything. What I tell my clients, look for safety and hazardous items. Is the foundation in good condition? How is the roof? Is there water intrusion? Is there mold issues? Are the plumbing vents being directed directly into the attic and not to the exterior of the house? Are there GFCI outlets where they need to be? Is there a fireplace, and how is the chimney? How is the condition of that chimney? I see sellers more open to correcting these type of deficiencies that involve safety and hazard items than a missing window screen, a self-closing door that's not self-closing, or disconnected rain gutters. Is buying new construction any different? No, not really. You still have earnest money, a down payment, a home inspection, title search, review period for the HOA and the CC&Rs. The biggest difference is the stage in which the new construction is in. For a spec home, the builder will likely not give you any choices except paint color if they haven't gotten to that point yet, and maybe carpet. Now, for a semi-custom home, the builder will give you a little bit more flexibility, maybe picking out some of the appliances, the finishes, and maybe moving a couple of walls. Again, it really depends on the stage of the construction. If they're far along in it, then you don't get much say. If they're in the very beginning stages, depending on that specific builder, there could be some flexibility for you to pick out some things. Now, what we typically see up here, if you're going to paint or pick out a finish material that's different than what the home builder was going to use, they're going to have you pay for that in the form of earnest money and make it non-refundable. That way, they're not out that additional money and then cut it. How long does it take to close on a home? Well, if we're talking about a resale home, meaning not new construction, from the time your offer is submitted to the time that you have the keys in your hand, that could be 16 days. Yes, it can happen that quickly. Now, it doesn't always work that quickly. Now, if that doesn't work for you, or the seller can't get their affairs in order in that time frame, typically 20 to 30 days is quite normal. Anything beyond 30 days is considered long and could be a turnoff for the seller. Now, if you want a copy of my buyer guide, make sure you text buyer guide, that's one word, no spaces, to 208-400-6162. I also want to hear from you, so leave me a comment below and let me know what you think of this video.